Welcome to the NitWits, a weekly roundtable discussion on the Penn State Nittany Lions, now in its 28th season. Our panel features a longtime Penn State media and NitWits tag team, Neil Rudell of the Altoona Mirror and Mark Brennan of Lions 24/7 with Fight on State. And each week we welcome a former Nittany Lion as our special guest analyst. The NitWits are brought to you by Irwin Financial, Raymond James, a firm foundation for your financial future. By Reed and Solani Orthodontics, providing friendly, family-focused orthodontic care in Altoona, Bedford, and Huntington. By Kogan Electric, lighting the way for you. By Blair Candy Company, the one-stop shop for all your tailgating needs. Candy, snacks, paper supplies, and more. By Dorman's Jewelry, the answer is always Dorman's. By Harry's Construction, if you can dream it, we can create it. By DeLeo Games, serving the community since 1945. By Keller Engineers, delivering results, exceeding expectations. By Lions 24/7 with Fight on State, your online home for Penn State football and recruiting coverage. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State Game Day every Friday and Penn State Extra every Monday.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. The money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I drew it. Yeah, you know what it is. We doing it big. Look up, there is no limit, no, we cannot settle for this. Yeah, can't stop, nah, won't stop. Yeah, spin on live. You don't believe it, just watch.
Welcome to Nittany Nation Overtime. We are the NitWits, joined tonight by Al Pola, and I'm sorry to report that Al's getting soft. We had him in here last year, and everybody was talking about the shorts he was wearing, but he's getting a little chilly here this year.
Age.
Good to see you, Al.
Age is undefeated. You know?
Thanks for being with us. Of course, Mark Brennan, Penn State on senior day that became senior night, 37-10, very decisive over Nebraska, but almost trumping the actual on-the-field game was just the massive support and for Terry Smith. Chanting, signage, 2 wins in a row has really given this story even more legs. And of course, the fact that Penn State is in the midst now of a 6-week search for James Franklin's successor, and James took the Virginia Tech job, as you know. We'll get to that a little bit later. But what about Terry? I mean, according to Michael Robinson, virtually every letterman that he's spoken to, and he said he's talking to hundreds, supports the idea of hiring Terry Smith.
If only we had a letterman here to ask about it.
Well, the letter has been gone out, and everybody's looked at the letter that's being produced by certain, a couple other lettermans, and every single one of us, it's like, he's doing a great job. He's a legacy. He's one heck of a gentleman. He's basically has everything that we've ever done here at Penn State. He's true blue and white, and he's, what he's shown on the field, it's actually coming through. So it's absolutely, I'm 100% behind Terry.
They're in a position now where if you look around the landscape of college football, unless they're able to hit a grand slam with somebody who has at least been in a national title game, who's a better option? And I don't mean that as a negative toward Terry, but the things that he's been able to do, rallying this program. This was a broken program that, when James Franklin was fired, and somehow it took a little bit, but we know how good the competition was. He got the players to stick around. He got the players to buy in. He got the coordinators, these high-paid coordinators, to be able to function with the talent at hand. And now you have the current players and former players like Al rallying behind him, and the fans. I mean, we know how powerful the fan statement was on the other end of things when James ended up being let go. So Pat Kraft has something real serious to consider here, and if Terry Smith doesn't get fair consideration, I think that'll be unfair to him.
Well, he said last week that he hasn't really formally been interviewed. I would expect or hope for his sake that would happen after the Rutgers game. You touched on something, and based on they thought they were getting ahead of everything, and they'd have a smorgasbord of candidates this year to pick from, and whether Pat Kraft didn't anticipate that or anticipated it wrong, that all these other schools mobilized and retained their coaches. So that has changed the attractiveness of the field.
Well, it's not only that. I mean, okay, Matt Rule signed an extension, but how attractive is he now? Drinkowitz at Missouri. I mean, they're at 7-4 now. I mean, these guys are all what is looking like a better option.
Braum, Key, virtually everybody whose name came up either took multiple losses and hasn't looked as sharp. Now, you played with Terry. He was just coming in as you were leaving, right?
Yeah, Terry spunk. He was a pistol, and he still is. Obviously he's gotten a lot more mature from what he was back then, but
haven't we all, Al?
Yeah, just a little bit. I think the biggest thing right now is structure. Penn State's always been a structured program, and flashes here and there is very, our fan base is not like that. We like our team to be consistently good. If you're going to throw somebody in the flash, how long are they going to keep that flash? You had an Urban Meyer who could last, 3-4 years. Yeah, he got a couple of national titles, but then he fizzled. And now what do? We're just so used to longevity here.
That's right.
And it's the emotions and the fan base understands that and they want that, but unfortunately we can't have it because it's not going that direction.
How flexible does Kraft have to be in his thinking? You don't really escort somebody, a tenured guy has had a lot of success in Franklin, out of the building because you kind of had to mid-season, and then roll out a career assistant coach who, but the way it's shaking out, I wonder how much this is changing his thinking. He did say Terry would absolutely be a candidate. He said that 6 weeks ago. But now, after the way he's performed, makes you wonder if he will keep an open mind on him.
Yeah, I think the qualifier, Neil, is that you say a career assistant coach, but now he's been given the opportunity, and you've seen what he's done on the field. I mean, again, this was a broken program. The kids were not. It's almost like they were going through the motion. You lose to UCLA and you see where they are, and Northwestern maybe a little bit better, but they had no business losing those games. He rallied those guys. He got them to go. So his title isn't career assistant coach. He was given an opportunity.
Well, up until now.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying right now, I think you have to look at him through a different lens. The other thing I liked about about what happened Saturday night, after the game, he puffed his chest out a little bit. Good for him. I mean, he deserved to do that. He deserved to get out in front of the media and state his case, why he thinks he's a leader of men. I mean, that came across. Whoa! I mean, I heard that, and I'm thinking,
well, nobody said it from the university.
Right.
Somebody's got to promote them or himself, if that's the case.
And I'm glad he did, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Terry's going to be here. I hope he's going to be here for a while. But again, it's not my decision. The letter doesn't. My signature on the letter doesn't mean a thing. It's just a support. And that's what we are.
But I think it does mean something when Michael Robinson is going on national TV and talking about you guys and talking about how this support is there. And if Pat Kraft isn't listening to that, and I'm not saying that he must be the guy, but I am saying if Terry Smith isn't given fair consideration for this position, it'll be a travesty.
So back when I was getting recruited back in the old days, we were always told, don't pick a school because of a coach. Pick the school because of the school.
Because everybody thought Joe was going to retire.
I didn't know who Joe was.
During your career.
When I came here, I didn't know who Joe was. Joe who? I came out, obviously the sainthood came on later, and I realized how much of a influence he had in my life, and how, but that's the way it was. Now you're looking, everybody's jumping. Their coach goes there, they go with him. Oh, this coach is coming. Oh, he's going to bring his quarterback with him.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what's so difficult for me and for a lot of us that are old timers trying to figure out. And then it gets so blown out that my head explodes.
Yeah. Well, you might not have known him when you got there, but you sure knew him when you left.
Oh, yeah. A couple of meetings in the office. We got to know each other.
All right, let us step out for a quick break, and we will get to the game right after this.
The NitWits are being brought to you by Irwin Financial Raymond James, a firm foundation for your financial future. By Reed and Solani Orthodontics, providing friendly, family-focused orthodontic care in Altoona, Bedford, and Huntingdon. And by Kogan Electric, lighting the way for you.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
Yep, Al, that's our official welcome. We dress up, and that's you with Devon Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, the bowling, yeah.
Yeah. What do you average bowling?
2 left feet.
I've seen him bowl. He has good form, though.
No bumpers.
Well, it's funny. I couldn't golf the next day because my knees were all twisted. So I stopped.
Okay, Terry summed up right away the Nebraska game, and I like this because he agreed with me. I thought the play of the game was 4th and 1 from the 2, where Zane Durant got in there and Amari Campbell and stopped Nebraska after they had driven down the field immediately.
Yeah, I mean, this team, I'll go back to what I was saying earlier, that swagger was not there for the last few games of Franklin's Penn State tenure. And to see that return, again, they march down the field and then make a huge play, and that's basically the game. And they continued to play with that swagger. There was never a point in that game after that I thought they were in trouble.
Yeah.
I thought they were in good shape.
Yeah, I think Terry's done a great job in regards to treating them like men and making sure the accountability is there. And each one of them are starting to show that, that there's pride in doing this properly and doing it hard.
Katron Allen has now passed Evan Royster as the career leading rusher. It's kind of a hallowed record at a place that has had so many great running backs, and this kid's yards after the contact, the determination that he has shown, the toughness, and the improvement really throughout his career. What do you see in a back like this?
He's a hard runner. He runs mean and he runs mad. And what I like about him is he runs through that first arm contact. He could run with his own block and he can run with that gap block, which, by the way, zone block I hate. But that when he runs that, he could actually produce, like I said, he runs right through that first arm. And then once he gets to that second level, it's one-on-one. He's already 4 or 5 yards downfield. Absolute improvement as he's been here.
But it's amazing how once they started feeding him the ball, again, I keep talking about after this transition happened, Terry starts feeding him the ball. And the unbelievable thing is, it's made Nick Singleton better too. I mean, they're using him to catch passes, in a complimentary way, and I mean that in a good way, not in a negative way. And then think about what Grunk did in that game. I didn't realize till after the game, when you go and look at the stats, he was 11 of 12, a QB rating of 245, and complimentary football. Where was that for so much of the season? And it's almost like, do you credit them now for how well they're playing, or do you say, what the heck, where was this from Andy Kotelnicki? Because everything was working, and you can't look at that game and not give a shout out to the offensive line and Khalil Dinkins. No catches, that guy's wiping people out.
Yeah, I think the tight ends have blocked really well. The tight ends really only caught one ball, but I think in answer to your question, it's both. Okay, where was it, and what was James doing? He was getting fired. By not going down the field. And I love not only the fact that he was only sacked once on a pretty good blitz by Nebraska, but he had all day to throw in the play action passing, and finally these receivers are open.
But everybody's making everybody better. And that's where that was not there. And now
Right.
you played. It's like you could have the greatest running back in the world, but if your O-line isn't getting a job done, or if your quarterback's not playing well.
I think they were trying to please the fans, try to put a show on. And then now they're getting back to your basics.
Yeah.
Double team, point of attack, get upfield. Instead of going sideways, they're going forward. And that's I just so frustrated early in the year just watching them go sideways.
Yeah.
These lines are meant to go forward. And now they actually started doing it in Indiana. And you saw the production there. Obviously it wasn't successful, but you saw where they're going at it. And I think he just finally got to the point where it's like, look, let's just go out there and win the damn game.
Al, I know you have a special spot for Venga, but what did you think when you saw the viral video of Venga pushing the... I'm sorry to go off script.
It made me cry.
Okay. Nice. He's a special kid, right? Yeah.
I got to see his whole family yesterday on the field, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Special teams took a step sideways yesterday. They've been really good, so that was the only demerit. We're going to get back, touch on James and the move to Virginia Tech right after this.
The NitWits are being brought to you by Blair Candy Company, the one-stop shop for all your tailgating needs. Candy, snacks, paper supplies, and more. By Dorman's Jewelry. The answer is always Dorman's. And by Harry's Construction. If you can dream it, we can create it.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
Welcome back in, and we're pleased to be joined by Al Pola. Appreciate Al coming down. Al, why don't you update us real quick on your career, what you're doing these days, and you come through Altoona now and then, so you're kind of local for us.
Getting fat and lazy right now. No. So I got my degree in hotel restaurant management, got into restaurants for a while, and then obviously it wasn't conducive to raising a family. Pretty tough. So I got in, now I sell meatballs. I'm a Samoan, Polynesian guy that sells meatballs to Italians.
Love it.
In the Northeast. And then I was just here running around Altoona on the streets calling on with the salespeople, and customers here. One of the clients that we have is Imler's Poultry here that I was able to run around with their group and help out and try to push meatballs.
That's good. We'll send you in to help sponsor the show next year. How about that?
Yeah.
James made news. It was anticipated that he might get a job before the end of the season, and now he is at Virginia Tech. I think that was probably the best job he was going to get, at least this year, although Florida State may open. We'll see about USC. They didn't look very good yesterday. How will this affect Penn State, its staff, and its roster?
Well, he's already taken some of his recruiting staff and support staff, so those folks have already moved on. It doesn't necessarily impact the day-to-day preparing of the team for a game, but for recruiting and whatnot. And I think that's where you have to keep an eye. How many of the kids who were committed to Penn State end up going, and how many kids, frankly, on the current Penn State roster end up deciding to follow him there. So, I don't know the answer to those questions. I think a lot of it may have to do with who the Penn State, it will have to do with who the Penn State coach is. And I think if it's Terry Smith, they probably have a greater likelihood of retaining more players.
One of the things, in honor of Mike Irwin, calling him Michael Robinson. Mike had his own pronunciation guide. Anyway, Michael Robinson did say yesterday that he thought a lot of the players, in talking to them, would leave if it's not Terry Smith, so they'll have to keep an eye on that when the transfer portal opens January 2nd. But I'm noticing, and this availability report that they put out before the games in the last 2 or 3 years has become a mandatory thing for the Big Ten. It's longer than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I just wonder how much of that is it all injuries, or is it just different circumstances?
I mean, we can only take people at their word, and what Terry's saying is that the one guy who left was Joey Schlafer, the tight end, who really wasn't a huge factor for them. So I'm taking people at their word, and if it's something different than that, I guess we'll ultimately find out.
Right.
Well, what's the status of Chaz Coleman? Because he was one of the most decorated of those freshmen. And the last we saw him, you might have seen him at that Wednesday practice, right, that he was there. But he was talking to an Ohio State coach. He was seen doing this walking off the field at Ohio State with this guy dressed in red.
Was it a coach or was it somebody?
Well, it was somebody dressed in red that looked like he was somewhat official with their staff.
Yeah.
Not saying it was Ryan Day or the AD or anything, but it was an Ohio State somebody on the field afterwards.
Well, he's still there. He's still doing an NIL hit for a local fitness place.
Okay.
So I take people at their word, and if Terry Smith's never been anything but honest with me, and if he's telling me the guy's still on the team, I'm believing him.
Right. Well, I would think that he's a guy that you would want to retain,
Of course.
if at all possible.
Yeah, Kamachu, there's a lot of guys. Dixon.
You'd like to keep the
Yeah.
entire team together, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. You mentioned Kamaju. He played well yesterday. Who are some of the other top freshmen priority keeps, do you think? Some guys that may not be starting, but that you
Well, I
want
mean,
them-
Darius Dixon did start
Yeah.
the last game and played really well from a great high school program out there in California, Modern Day, who produced Pola.
3 stripers.
Yeah, and Kobe Howard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are a bunch of kids in there. They have some really young tight ends who we haven't seen, but who will have an opportunity to play in the future. So yeah, there are some really good players. Malachi Goodman, offensive lineman, big, giant, athletic. So there are plenty of players who they want to keep, but we're gonna have to see who gets the job before we know who's going to stay.
Well, also the fact that there was only 2 scholarship running backs available yesterday. So anyway, some stuff to keep an eye on. We're going to be speaking of keeping an eye on, hey, we are headed for the home stretch of the Nitwit of the Year battle, and we'll outline that right after this.
The Nitwits are being brought to you by DeLeo Games, serving the community since 1945. By Keller Engineers, delivering results, exceeding expectations. By Lions 24/7 with Fight On State, your online home for Penn State football and recruiting coverage. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State Game Day every Friday and Penn State Extra every Monday.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
Welcome back, and this is how it should be as we head for the regular season final. I love it. Brennan, congratulations. You broke a drought. You're
I didn't even realize I won.
Yeah,
That's
right. Cracked the board this week. You want to mention Tash?
Yeah, Alex Tatch, linebacker. I should have mentioned him in the previous segment. A guy definitely is a must-keep if you can possibly do it. Just playing really well toward the end of the season. Glad to see him getting a chance. They burned his red shirt, so they're all in on him.
Arrington's kid burnt red shirt.
Looked that way too. Yeah, playing a lot on special teams. So.
Yeah. Okay. The regular season finale at Rutgers. Greg Schiano's teams typically play tough, and I think they're in bowl consideration, right?
I think whoever wins this game is going to be at 500.
Right. Yeah. So, you don't always get a ton of atmosphere. It's Thanksgiving weekend. But you're first. You've earned this.
Yeah, I mean, I like the confidence that Penn State's playing with. I like the balance on offense, the aggression on defense. So I think Penn State's going to win this one pretty handily. I will go 28-10.
Okay. Al, how about you?
I agree with you. I completely getting back to basics. Everything needs to get back to basics. Let's not go out there and throw things that we don't have anymore. So I go 30-14.
Okay, I got to do some quick math here. I thought I had this position because
you don't,
because you're picking first.
Yeah, little
so,
did you know.
I have to pick a route if I want to go.
Al and I
high.
are in cahoots.
I think Schiano's teams typically play pretty tough against Penn State. It's a bigger game. It's always been a bigger game for Rutgers than it has Penn State. I don't know that that's necessarily the case this year, but I'm going to say Penn State 33, Rutgers 19.
Well, if this thing ends on a deflated ball, we're all going to be ticked. I just hope one of us wins this damn
Terry
thing.
will be the most unhappy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but how much time do we have, Lee? One thing that, okay. I want to bring up that Al, a friend of the show, and one of the things he told us, and we only have a couple seconds, but you were a point guard in junior high basketball, and I think that's cool.
I played point guard all the way till freshman year, and then moved. No. I'm sorry. From 7th grade to freshman year, I was the center.
Yeah.
Then freshman year, I got moved to point guard.
How about that? We want some video for the next time.
The only point guard who ever became a nose guard.
That's right. What a transition.
I'm very versatile, just to let you know. Yeah?
All right. Thank you very much for watching. Happy Thanksgiving for everybody, and we'll see you after the Rutgers game right here on Nittany Nation Overtime.
The NitWits have been brought to you by Irwin Financial, Raymond James, a firm foundation for your financial future. By Reed and Solani Orthodontics, providing friendly, family-focused orthodontic care in Altoona, Bedford, and Huntington. By Kogan Electric, lighting the way for you. By Blair Candy Company, the one-stop shop for all your tailgating needs. Candy, snacks, paper supplies, and more. By Dorman's Jewelry, the answer is always Dorman's. By Harry's Construction, if you can dream it, we can create it. By DeLeo Games, serving the community since 1945. By Keller Engineers, delivering results, exceeding expectations. By Lions 24/7 with Fight on State, your online home for Penn State football and recruiting coverage. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State Game Day every Friday and Penn State Extra every Monday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.